Welcome to the Bay. All right, let's talk about it. You've got about $550 burning a hole in your pocket for a new graphics card. You're targeting that glorious 1440p sweet spot, but there's a tough choice to make. So here's the big question. Do you jump on the brand new Blackwell architecture with a shiny RTX 5070? Or do you stick with the tried and true, super efficient Ada Lovelace in the RTX 4070? Let's figure out which one really earns that spot in your build. So in one corner, you've got the new-gen challenger, the RTX 5070, promising all the latest bells and whistles and, of course, more power. And in the other corner, the proven workhorse, the RTX 4070, known for just being a solid, efficient 1440p beast. This is the battle for the mainstream king. Okay, let's get right to the good stuff. The thing that matters most to all of us gamers, pure, raw frames per second. How do these two actually stack up when you crank everything to ultra at 1440p? Right off the bat, here's the number you need to know. On average, across a whole bunch of modern games, the RTX 5070 is about 20% faster than the 4070. And let me tell you, that is not a small difference. That is a very real, very noticeable jump in performance. And here's a perfect example. Look at a monster of a game like Cyberpunk 2077. The 5070 is cruising along at a super smooth 88 frames per second. The 4070 is at 72. Now, both are absolutely playable, for sure, but that 16 FPS gap, that's the difference between, yeah, this is good, and wow, this is great. So what about competitive games? Well, in something like Warzone, the 5070 is pushing almost 200 FPS. If you're running one of those fancy high-refresh monitors, like a 165Hz or even a 240Hz, that extra 35 frames of headroom is a huge deal. It just feels smoother and more responsive when things get crazy. But look, frames are king, we get it, but they aren't the whole story. The tech that's built into the card really determines what it can do down the road. So let's look past the FPS counter for a second and see what's really under the hood. The big deal with the 5070 is that it's built on this new Blackwell architecture. So what does that actually mean for you, the gamer? Well, it means you're getting the latest and greatest hardware for ray tracing and AI, support for way faster GDDR7 memory, and, this is a big one, access to DLSS 4, the next big step in AI-powered performance boosting. So it really comes down to a trade-off, right? With the 5070, you're buying into the future. You're getting the bleeding-edge tech like DLSS 4 and that speedy new memory. But the 4070, it's holding its own with the still amazing DLSS 3 and its incredible frame generation. And it has its own ace up its sleeve, that ridiculously low 200-watt power draw. It's an efficiency king. All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Performance and features are cool and all, but a card has to fit your budget and, your power supply. So let's look at the hard numbers. Okay, looking at the specs, a couple of things really pop out. They both have 12 gigs of VRAM, which is great, but the 5070 is using that much faster GDDR7. But check out the power draw. The 5070 uses an extra 50 watts. And here's the kicker. At launch, they cost the exact same amount of money. And that brings us to the ultimate question, right? Bang for your buck. When both cards are sitting at that $549 price point, the math is pretty simple. The RTX 5070 just gives you more performance for every single dollar you spend. It's the better value for a new build, period. And honestly, the source data we're looking at sums it up perfectly. If the prices are the same, the combo of more performance and newer tech just makes the RTX 5070 the logical, sensible choice for almost anyone building a new PC today. So, we've thrown a ton of numbers and tech at you. What's the final verdict? Which GPU should you actually buy? Well, there's no single right answer for everybody, so let's break it down for a few different types of PC builders. First up, if you are building a completely new PC from scratch and you want to crush games on a 1440p high-refresh monitor for the next few years, it's a no-brainer. The RTX 5070 is the one. You get more performance now and better features for later. Okay, what if you're upgrading? Maybe you're still rocking a good old GTX 1080 or maybe an RTX 2070. The RTX 5070 is absolutely your ticket to the big leagues. The jump in performance is going to feel massive, and you're getting all this new tech that will feel like a total game changer. But what if you're all about finding the best possible deal, the true bargain hunter? This is where the RTX 4070 really shines. If you can find one on sale, or maybe grab a used one for a steep discount, it suddenly becomes an amazing value, giving you awesome 1440p gaming for less money. Now, this has just been a quick flyby, of course. If you want to see all the raw numbers, the full benchmark suite, and get a much deeper analysis of all this hardware, you've got to check out the source material over at bestgpusforgaming.com. And just when you think you've finally made up your mind, there's always a twist, isn't there? The rumor mill is already buzzing about a possible RTX 5070 times Super with a whole lot more VRAM. Definitely something to keep an eye on. And that's our breakdown of these two 1440p powerhouses. Hopefully this made your decision a little bit easier. Whichever card you end up with, happy gaming. Until next time, keep it cool and keep building.